What's up, idols? It's Cece Listen Through. Welcome back to my channel. We got another juicy story for y'all. It's kind of funny how people who are now sending in new stories or people who have already sent in their stories who want to like resubmit evidence, they've been sending their Instagram links with their partner's Instagram link, some videos of them together, like just to give me some verification that they're real and they're not lying. And I appreciate it, but it's not entirely necessary. I just honestly didn't think people would bother taking the time to send in a fake story to a mid-level YouTuber when they gain nothing. But now that I know they do, I will vet more and be more careful. So anyway, this story, y'all see the title, right? So y'all know I can relate to this personally. Let me just let y'all know a little bit of what we're about to get into. This girl met her Korean boyfriend while she was studying for a semester. He later urged her to move in with him, and things did not go according to plan. All hell breaks loose. He's even a little bit racist, apparently. So anyway, today's story comes from another anonymous submission, and she asked to be called Elsa. She says she wants to be anonymous because there's some things she didn't tell her parents, and she's also a little bit embarrassed by what she put up with and allowed to happen to her. So she says she's making this strictly to warn this community, and for that, Elsa, we really thank you. So Elsa's from Canada, been there all her life, and she grew up really admiring other cultures, wanting to travel. Particularly, she got into Korean culture. She loves K-pop, diehard K-pop fan, loves Korean food, Korean movies, K-dramas, fashion, so she knew for sure she wanted to make her way to Korea at some point. And because she's a daehakseng, university student, she figured, you know what, maybe I should try and go study abroad for a semester. 9 times out of 10, when you're a foreign student and you're studying in Korea, you get a pretty light load, unless you're like studying Korean courses, because a lot of times people go to study Korean for that experience abroad, maybe a foreign internship or something. But unless you're going to take like the Korean students class load, like studying what they study, you're gonna have a pretty good time, or so that's what I hear. So for her, this was more of a productive travel gap year. She was still pursuing her degree, but having some fun in the meantime. She studied Korean hard in her free time. She wanted to be fluent as possible. She was a bit nervous about going to Korea by herself. She didn't have like friends to go with her. She didn't know any family there. She was completely going alone and starting over. But she very quickly made friends. Not only were there way more foreigners on her campus, so she got the chance to make like global friends. Like, she's from Canada. She met people from the US, South Africa, Sweden, India, the UK. But she also made a lot of local Korean friends. They would study together, they went to concerts, they shopped together, ate together, and of course enjoyed Korea's infamous nightlife. So at this point, months had gone by in Korea and she's been living the dream. Everything's been amazing. Speaking of lit nights out in Korea, let's jump and fast forward to when she met her boyfriend. You guys know that Korea is very heavy with like couple culture. So if you go there single, it's really easy to feel single, like reminded every day that you're single. You can't even go to the movies without being forced to take a 1+1 deal. I'd be like, but I'm by myself. It happened to me when I went to see Homecoming in 2017. I was like, I'm by myself. Can I just have this one thing by myself? He's like, no, sorry, 1+1. So I had to take 2 big ass things of popcorn alone. Yeah, I went to the movies by myself. Not gonna do that again. Everywhere you go, like you see couples eating together, you see them shopping together, walking around holding hands.
So lonely, Mr. Lonely, I have nobody.
So I get it. It is lonely when you're single in Korea. It's easy to feel like you want someone to romance you up. I totally get it. So she used Hello Talk a lot. Not only was she trying to learn Korean and get better at Korean, but she was also trying to talk to some people who were interested in talking with foreigners, because that's primarily what the app is for, language exchange. But she admits she had ulterior motives. She wanted to find a cute Korean dude who was trying to learn English, and she's like, great, you can teach me Korean, I can teach you English. So she spent a lot of her free time just chatting and scrolling on the app. It's funny though, because there was this one night where, the night that she met her boyfriend, her friends were like, girl, we just had the most stressful exam. I need a drink, I need to dance, I need to forget what just happened. So she didn't have the same like stressful exam, but she's always down for a girls' night out. So she was like, you know what, count me in, let's go get lit. So she went out with the girls, they went to Hongdae, and they hit up Attention. Now, I've only been there twice. The first time, no problems. The second time, they wanted to charge foreigners, so there's that. The reason I bring up Hello Talk is because she's out. She's supposed to be enjoying the time with her friends, but again, there's that loneliness. Like, you need to fill that void. So she's actively sitting near the bar trying to talk to somebody on Hello Talk. And then suddenly, a really drunk dude comes up to her and just starts laughing hysterically.
Hey, shut up!
She was a little confused and quite scared, as you can imagine. But she's like, and just turned away to ignore him. What happened next is nothing but wild. This dude went quiet. You know, she's facing away from him, not a word from him, mission accomplished, I'm not entertaining the foolishness. But suddenly she gets a tap on her shoulder. And while he's tapping, he's like, 저기요! 저기요! Mind you, he's right behind her, so he does not need to yell. So she cautiously turned back around like, 네? He then says, 얼마나? 얼마나? That means like how much, how many. But like he gestures down, so she's thinking he means her drink. She's like, oh, 만원. He's like, 진짜로? And she's like, yeah, we got 3 for 10. Like trying to explain this to him because he got excited about the drinks being cheap. So then he started laughing again and was like, no, 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 ha 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 ha, laughing hysterically. And said, how much이, 얼마나, you. He then says, I want you tonight. Yeah, y'all, this dude thought she was a prostitute.
Bruh.
She was fuming. She said, no, no, leave me alone. Ka, 빨리 가, 지금 가, 거죠. I just want to take the time to acknowledge how insane it is that this dude thought she was selling ass for $8. She kept saying to leave me alone, but he would not leave her or her friends. So her friends like, hey, like get away. Like, what are you doing? Get out of here. Weirdo, creep, drunk, kojo. Pyeontaek, go! They're near the bar, so like staff can see them. They're trying to get anyone to help them, like please. Help! And one of her friends walked up to a random guy who was alone, so she figured if he's alone, he's more likely to help us versus a dude with a group of people, you know? So this guy asked him like, 왜 그래? What's wrong? Are you okay? So then Elsa explains to this guy, he thinks I'm a prostitute and he won't leave us alone. So then this guy strong arms him like he's a bouncer who works for the club to get him away from the girls. He did try to come back a few times, but the guy kind of stayed near them, not like with the girls, but near them, so he could just like, no, I need, like to keep them away. But luckily after that, the drunk guy did not come back. So after a few moments of peace, Elsa and her friends were kind of like, I'm annoyed, like I just want to go. So the girls thanked him and said that they were gonna get out of here, but like thank you for protecting us. So this mysterious hero, we'll call him Yoon by the way. He's like, oh, you're leaving? She said, yeah, we've been here a while. We had our drinks, we're annoyed. We're gonna go to a less problematic place. But Elsa's friends are like, oh, but you know, do you have Instagram or something like, or Kakao? Like, can we stay in touch? Like the friends wanted to get his contact information. So they all decided to follow each other on Instagram. A few of them exchanged Kakaos. Elsa and Yoon did exchange their Kakaos. She also gave him her TikTok and he gave her his Instagram. So now that they're outside, they're like, Elsa, are you okay? Like, you good? They're like, why are you being like that? She was like, how am I being? They said, you were kind of cold to that dude. He was like really nice. I was just like, oh shit, was I really? I didn't mean to be like that. I was just really annoyed by that guy. So she decided to message him quickly and apologize if she seemed cold.
Go away, Anna. Okay, bye.
Elsa joke. He responded pretty quickly and said, no worries, enjoy the rest of your night. Call me if you need me. That's noble. So the rest of that night went without a hitch. Nothing memorable happened. They had a lot of drinks. Her friends got some numbers. They love to flirt. You know, flirting can be fun in general. Successful girls' night out, except Elsa woke up with a pounding hangover. She didn't want to let any light in her room. She just couldn't take it. She heard a notification on her phone go off. And then she heard another notification on her phone go off. So she's like, okay, who is it? Who is it? And even though she's hungover, the screen brightness was killing her, she saw that it was from Yoon and she got kind of excited. He said good morning to her, even though it was like 2 p.m. at this point. And he said, I hope you have fun. Did that guy show up again? She's like, no, they had a really fun night. Thank you again so much. I'm just really hungover right now. So then he's like, oh, that's too bad. It would be nice to see you. You know, Korea has really good hangover remedies. But she apologized and said, look, I can't get out of bed. Like, it's not happening. I need to just sleep this off. But maybe we can meet next weekend or sometime during this week for dinner if you're up to it. And he agreed. So let's skip her hangover recovery day and jump to their first date. They met on a Wednesday for dinner. It wasn't anything fancy. It was like nearby campus. She didn't want to go too far because she had a lot to do that day, but a girl's gotta eat. She said as they sat there talking, it was just magical. Sparks flew. She just could not stop smiling while talking to him. He laughed a lot and he seemed like such a nice guy. He was a bit older than her, which she thought gave credit to his maturity. Like, she loved that. She's like, oh my God, this is refreshing. He wasn't tall, but he was taller than her, which for her, that's all he needs. She said he had round glasses and a K-pop haircut. I don't know which haircut she means, but let your imagination fill in the blanks. He was telling her how he wished she decided to stay in Korea longer because, again, at this point, you know, she's already been in Korea for a few months and the semester is nearing its end. And then she joked saying she wasted too much time like scrolling and chatting with people on Hello Talk when she should have just went out and got her ass in the bar. She would have found him sooner. So they wrap up a really good, successful first date and they can't wait to see each other again. So she gets home, her friends are all in her business, like, what happened? How was it? Was he just as cool as he was in the club? Tell us everything, girl, tell us everything. This is like one of those cool reverse Uno card situations because like her friends had already met him and they liked him. Her friends are the reason they even have each other's contact information. They're like, we have a good feeling about this one.
That is not correct.
They're hyping her up like, yes, girl, finally, at least one of us got a good guy. So then she tells her friends, oh, sorry, Yoon's calling. And they're like, oh, don't mind us. Have fun, bye, call us later. So on the phone, Yoon asks her if she's home safely, if she enjoyed the food. when is she free to see him again. He said he wanted to spend as much time with her as he could before she goes back to Canada. She said she was actually really busy with, you know, a lot of prep work and try to, like, it's an easy course, but she don't want to just coast through. Like, she still wants to maintain her high GPA. But she's like, I can assure you we'll work something out. Like, I will see you often. I don't have that much time left, but I will see you. So over the next few weeks, they spent a lot of dinner dates together. He even helped her study. And she spent a few nights sleeping over at his place, which leads me to a very important next detail. Yoon lives alone in a really nice one-bedroom apartment, and it's very spacious, and she always joked about, why didn't they bother building a second room? Like, there's enough room to make this a 2-bedroom apartment. And he also would joke, yeah, you know, it's plenty of room for one more. You don't have to go back to Canada. I have space here for you too. So they did move a bit fast, and after about 3 weeks of dating, they became an official couple. 여자친구, 남자친구.
Okay, seriously, what's with my Pan's Labyrinth looking ass hands?
Sadly, she did have to go back to Canada once she finished her semester. One red flag that she wanted me to, like, state to you guys and point out. He would always tell her that she didn't have to go back to Canada to finish school. Like, you don't need to finish school. Who tells a girl not to finish her education and her studies? So she did go back to Canada and finish. So while she was finishing her final time studying, they were able to maintain a long distance relationship. He came to Canada a few times to visit her because she's busy with work, she's busy studying, she can't fly back to Korea. So because Yoon came to Canada a few times, he did meet her family. Some of her family loved him, some of her family did not like him. They noticed some things that maybe she wasn't noticing herself. So because she couldn't afford to go back to Korea and she didn't have the time to take off of school to go back to Korea, she was really happy he would come and visit her. But she also said, like, you know, we can talk on the phone, we can video chat, it's fine. Remember that. So jumping ahead a few months, and it's graduation for our girl Elsa. Yes, beauty and brains. And she's excited because now her plan is to go to Korea and teach English for a year, at least a year, because that's how long the contract is with the school. And her plan was to move in with her boyfriend. Now, this wasn't always her plan. Her plan initially was to go right into her field of study post-haste, like as soon as she finished graduating. But she did say on these frequent visits from Yoon, she felt guilty. She felt like he was doing a lot to make their relationship work, taking off work, being in a new country, around her family, out of his comfort zone, and you know, flights aren't cheap. And while she already had that guilt, he would pressure her like, yeah, you know, you should come move with me. I'm coming over here to be in your world. Come be in mine.
Part of that
And at this point, she did feel like she owed him that much. So she agreed to it, and that's why this became her new plan, to be a teacher. Her family didn't want to see her go, especially the family members who didn't like him. She's like, look at how many times he came to see me. Like, that's a huge sacrifice. And I do miss Korea. I was only there for 6 months. I miss my friends. I miss my life there. And up to this point in her eyes, Yoon was still a really good guy. But there were red flags. Cammy? Yeah, those. He was a bit of a gaslighter. Like, he'd make these frequent trips to Canada, even when she insisted it wasn't necessary. But he's like, no, babe, it's okay. I want to come see you.
Stop the cap.
And then when he got to Canada, he would complain. He'd say, oh man, I wish I didn't have to make these frequent trips, the things I do to be with you. He was also a bit greedy with her time. Like, when she needed to work or study, he'd say, what about me? Like, you can't talk with me. There's a time zone difference. I'm gonna sleep soon. Why are you always so busy? I go to see you. You can't even talk on the phone with me? Like, she always felt guilty about having other priorities. And relationships aren't supposed to make you feel like that. So yeah, there were things like that that would rub her the wrong way. But hey, she was in love. What are you gonna do? So she packs her bags and heads off back to Korea for another year at least. And for those who don't know, when you go to teach in Korea, usually they set you up with an apartment, but she opted to live with him instead of the apartment that the school was gonna provide for her. Her friends were so happy to welcome her back. They're like, oh my God, you're finally back. We haven't seen you in so long. Let's get lit. Cause like, she's been seeing Yoon while she went back to Canada to study, but she hadn't seen her friends at all. So, you know, she's back with him, she's in Korea, she's moved into his place, and she's like, oh my God, like, I'm gonna be a teacher, I can't wait to meet my students, I can't wait to see my friends, like, I miss them, our nights out were crazy. But Yoon didn't like that last part.
What do you mean by that?
He's like, wait, aren't all your friends single? She's like, I think so, yeah. And then he says, it's not appropriate for a taken girl to hang out in clubs with single girls. So she's like, what are you talking about? And he referenced that first night out when that dude thought she was a prostitute and he had to come and save them. And then in the email, she's like, here we go, another instance of a woman being blamed for a man's actions. Like, it was her fault that he assumed she was a prostitute. She says she's gonna hang out with her friends and she can't spend all her time with him. So they end the argument there for now. It's ended. For now. So one day, about a month into their new living arrangements together, she was surprised when he asked her if she wanted to get some furniture or some pieces to like redecorate his home to be suitable to her tastes. She really appreciated that. She was like, oh, you know, I don't want to get much. Maybe a few rugs or some cute pillows. Maybe get a comforter, change the bedding. And she definitely wanted to get some plants. He said, yeah, I want you to redecorate this place and make it feel more like your home. So again, she thanked him. She thought that was very, very sweet of him to do. But there's a reason it's not just to be nice. So they go out shopping and she gets the things that she wants to get to decorate the place. Good, right? You would think. So at this point, they're in a really good place. A month in, they're recalibrating pretty well. She likes her staff, she loves her students, she loves her boyfriend. All is well. Let's fast forward another 2 weeks or so. So Elsa's friends finally invited her for a night out. Now, she's been back in Korea for a month and 2 weeks now. She had not seen them at all. So she tells Yoon, hey, I'm gonna go out with the girls for a bit. And he says no. He said, we talked about this before, it's not appropriate. She said, I'm doing you a courtesy by letting you know I'm not asking for your permission. I'm letting you know I'm going out with my girls. And then he says, are all Western women really like this? You never listen. A girl with a boyfriend should not be out with friends who are all single. You should find a married friend. She's like, we're not even married. What? So then he says, I decorated my place so you would like it here more. Like, you don't need to go out. So is this supposed to be a decorated prison now? That was why he let her pick out some pieces and decorate the apartment. I guess he expected a happy prisoner. Elsa's like, look, I need time with my friends. I cannot spend all my time with you or at work. And then he says, why?
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
You're insecure.
He says, I don't see my friends. I spend all my time with you. And she's like, okay, cool, but no one asked you to do that. They're arguing right now. And she's telling him, stop doing these things you don't want to do and then act like they're on my behalf or to my benefit when I never asked you to do these things, because then you complain to me about it and you hold it over my head and make me feel guilty for something I never asked you to do in the first place. Then out of nowhere, he says, and I'm gonna refer to the email. You look so ugly. Wow. No other Korean will want you. You are a foreigner.
Who the fuck you think you talking to?
So she's like, WTF are you talking about right now? I'm not looking for other Koreans. Why are you with me if I'm so ugly? He immediately apologized and said, I shouldn't have said that. I didn't mean to say that. You know what I mean. She's like, no, I literally don't know what you mean.
You're insecure.
Then he's like, please just stay here tonight. Can we talk about this in the morning? I can't even try to imagine why he would suddenly call his girlfriend ugly. This girl that he asked to move in with him. This girl that he went to Canada a few times to visit. Why he's suddenly calling her ugly because she wants to go hang out with her friends. Is it to attack her self-esteem and confidence and make her feel like only this guy wants me? Not that she's looking for anybody else anyway. Fragile egos are deadly. But she takes a deep breath and says, I'm going out with my friends. I will see you when I come back. He got silent, went to the bedroom, and that was it. So she was upset, but she really just missed her friends. She got ready and she left. And when she met up with her friends, it was very clear that she was not in a good mood because they're like, girl, what's wrong? And she straight up just told them everything that had just happened. How he's controlling, he wants to keep her all to himself.
Expose him! Expose him!
She feels smothered by him and guilty all the time for some reason. So they're like, yeah, girl, we like him and all. We'll talk to him later, but you deserve a night of fun right now. We haven't seen you in over a year. Forget the drama for a few hours. So after a few hours of that, she had fun and she went back to her place with Yoon. She entered the code. It's like a 6-digit code to get back into the apartment. She entered it. Didn't work. That's weird. Okay, let me fudge it. Let me try it again. Tries it like 5 or 6 more times and it doesn't work. So then she calls Yoon. He's up and he opens the door and lets her in the apartment. It's like 2 a.m. It's not too late, but it's later than he would like it to be. So she gets to the apartment and in the living room, she sees her suitcase. She's wondering why isn't it tucked away in the closet where I put it. So if it's not clear, he changed the code to get into his apartment. I guess if she came home too late and he was asleep, then she would have been SOL because he wouldn't have been able to let her in. Was that supposed to be like a punishment? So she asked him, why is my suitcase right here? He said, we don't work. You don't listen to me. You should leave.
Damn! What you say?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
That escalated quickly.
At first she's in disbelief like, nah, dude, I don't got time for this right now. It's 2 in the morning. But he's dead ass. He's serious. It's 2 a.m. and he's kicking her out. She said, I'm going to bed. Like, we'll talk about this in the morning. They love to talk about it in the morning. He said, you're right. It is late and that's the point. What were you doing all this time? I was foolish to think that I could be in a relationship with a foreign woman. She's fed up with this. She's like, you know what? Fine. You're right. I will leave, but I'm sleeping first. I'll leave in the morning. He said, oh, 좋아. And she slept on the couch. So as soon as she woke up, she started to pack up her stuff. But Yoon suddenly changes his mind and has a change of heart. He's like, no, wait, let's talk about this. I was angry last night because it was so late. But I'm better now. She said, no, it's not better. I can't do this anymore. You're gonna treat me like a prisoner, and I see that now. Reminded him of how controlling he was. The fact that he called her ugly last night. You look so ugly. No other Korean will want you. You are a foreigner. Dragged foreign women randomly, and she was done. She was up talking with her family, and they told her, yeah, if you can leave, you should leave. Because remember, being an English teacher, you get an apartment. So her plan was to stay with her friend for a little bit until the school could sort out her apartment, and she has a whole apartment waiting for her. So Yoon is like, oh, you're really leaving? She's like, is this not what you wanted? You just kicked me out a few hours ago. She quoted him back to him, you're a fool to think you can make it work with a foreigner, right? He said, yes, I think this is true. So she said, okay, packed her stuff, and then she left him. It took some time, but she was able to get her apartment sorted with the school. So after she finished her year teaching, she did decide to go back to Canada and pursue her field of study, like what she went to school for, because it wasn't teaching. And that's where that story ended. She didn't hear from him again. She did say that he would like a few of her posts or her friends' posts on Instagram and TikTok, but other than that, she had not heard from him ever since then. Elsa, darling, this was wild. Thank you for sending in the story, and thank you also for sending in all the proof, like the Instagrams and cacaos and hell, like thank you. She even sent a cute video of them together. It looks like they were very happy at one point, so this is kind of a sad ending, but it's for the best. If you want to watch more wild dating in Korea story times like this, binge the playlist that's about to pop up on the end of the screen. Thank you so much for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Annyeong!